Next time on Death Battle.
This is it. This is the last of the tease characters this year.
And
Sauron versus the Lich King.
And for people wondering why we wanted Taurock on specifically, if you recall in his reaction, he nearly bursted everyone's eardrums while holding the Frostmourne.
Yeah, this was one of my most wanted fights for so... Well, basically, like, I've wanted to see Warcraft in Death Battle for so long. One of my most wanted matchups has Warcraft in it. And, oh my god. Before Death Battle returned with James Bond versus John Wick, I was kind of like in a bad emotional state, in a bad mental state, and when I saw that teaser and they teased like Sauron, I was like, I fucking jumped up at how fucking hype I was. I was like, oh my god, we can have Arthas, and it just brushed it all away.
Magic of Death Battle.
The magic of Death Battle. Death Battle cures you from depression.
That happened with May 2 last year with Blake vs. Mikasa, I think.
Well, it was also Hulk versus Broly, just because of how 2020 was was going, with me losing a job and whatnot.
Yeah, I do want to ask this because, like, I was saying this about Sauron. Like, I did not expect Sauron to be the first Lord of the Rings character. Taurock, did you expect the Lich King to be the first World of Warcraft character?
Kind of, because if you talk about like, if you have to pick a character in World of Warcraft and you have to call him the guy, you know, if you have to choose a guy to represent World of Warcraft, Arthas is kind of like one of the good choices because he's he's one of the most iconic villains, not only in Warcraft but just out there. In my opinion.
It's also weird though, like, say he's just the Lich King, they don't call him Arthas, like, at all.
They'll probably do that in the episode.
There's a good reason for that, but I'll tell you when I talk about Arthas.
So, shall we start with the Eye Man, Sauron?
I'm actually excited to learn about Sauron, because I've only watched the main movies and the Hobbit trilogy a fucking long time ago.
Yeah, I think I watched the Lord of the Rings when I was a kid. I don't remember too much from them, and just Unusual Suspects reviews.
Thanks to... Sorry, go for it.
Grab something real quick. 1 second.
Let me just grab a bottle of water. I'm gonna do the same thing.
Right.
I got my water.
Where's my bottle? There we go. My water! There we go.
Hey, mate, you recalled what I did for Hercules vs. Sun, right?
Yeah?
Guess what? The books are back!
Oh, boy.
Whoa! Oh! You wanna talk books?
Jesus!
You wanna talk books?
Yes, let's talk books! Yes. Talk books!
Okay, World of Warcraft Chronicles, bitch!
Wow, these two are prepared!
Hey, man, Bill was originally going to represent Sauron, but then he had to move, so I'm like, I have a feeling it's going to be me.
You know what? Bill's just going to be watching this episode judging you. Just like, how you... You know what? If you do a bad job, Bill will just be like, look how Sean massacred my boy.
We're destroying your show, Bill.
Okay, so Sauron, the main big bad of the Lord of the Rings series. Oh boy, and let me say this, the books and the movies downplay Sauron a lot.
Really?
Okay, so first of all, it's important to understand who Sauron is. And as of the recent Shadow of Mordor game, which I believe is actually canon to the Lord of the Rings franchise.
I've actually heard, like... I've heard conflicting things. Like, let's just say it's canon adjacent.
Well, Sauron used to be an elf, known as Anatar.
Mm-hmm.
This man used to be a loyal member of the Anor, and was seduced by the first Dark Lord, Morgoth. Which begs the question, how the fuck do you get seduced by a Dark Lord?
Dark Lord was female?
I mean, with really dark shit. I mean, you know what people do for a single ring? Like,
according to the Shadow of Mordor,
I hate my mind.
Not surprised.
According to the Shadow of Mordor canon, Sauron was eventually defeated by Isildur. Then he rose a millennia later.
Okay.
Make his ring?
He actually did. In all the incarnations with Sauron, he actually does make a ring. The One Ring, as it is called. Unlike traditional Lord of the Rings rings, where you need other elfin craftsmanship, Sauron made this ring by himself.
I'm just sitting there like I hate my mind.
Hey, question. Was there a reason to make the rings?
Oh, for Sauron, he, as of course being the bad guy of the Lord of the Rings franchise movies, he wanted to corrupt and take over the world. With the Rings of Power, he corrupted several kings and nobles into becoming the Nazgul.
Oh. Okay.
And for people who want to know what a Nazgul is, you take a look at Sauron's, like, demonic design. It's that with darker colors.
Oh, okay.
And as someone like Sauron, let's just say elves have potent magic in the Lord of the Rings universe.
Potent.
And they're also meant to be immortal, aren't they?
Typically, yeah.
But they can be killed by, like, I don't know, say an axe through the skull or something.
So let's talk about, like, some of the stuff that Sauron can do without using his ring to transform, shall we?
Let's go.
Oh, okay.
I'm here for it.
Oh, Anatar has abilities to slow down time. If you recall, Celebrimbor had a similar ability for Talion. Celebrimbor and Anatar have fought a lot. So Anatar has similar abilities to Celebrimbor.
Oh god, are you saying there could be a time her thing?
Shut up!
It's not time travel, it's time slowing.
And there's a ring involved, oh god!
Oh no!
Oh no. No, don't worry, folks. Unlike willpower in Sauron's ring, it uses its own essence. More on that in a bit. Thanks to his natural abilities, he has resistant mind control from the likes of Celebrimbor. Besides that, he has telepathy, is a necromancer. He can raise the dead as his slaves. Because, of course, what better army to raise than the army of people you've already killed? Kill them once, bring them back, make them serve you. Now that's eternal damnation.
Ooh, sounds like Alucard's release restraint level 0.
Not really, because unlike that, Sauron doesn't lose any health or lives when one of his members are killed.
Yeah, it's more like raising like you just kill a guy and you can revive him, and it's like, you fight for me now. You know, it's funny.
Most of the time in the Shadow of Mordor games, they're typically Uruks or Orcs. But I think thanks to the movies and the books, he can actually do this with other people because the One Ring is that powerful.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of the stuff because in the movies, for example, they have two different things for him. In the movies, it is shown he compares speed to someone like Gandalf, who can dodge arrows at point-blank range, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the books, he is compared to Calgon, I believe is how you pronounce this one. Calgon the Black, one of the most powerful dragons in the Lord of the Rings universe. You want to know how fast that dragon is? He crossed the entire void of space in a day.
Damn, okay.
Okay. Let me be.
Sauron has defeated this said dragon, so he's most likely faster than that.
I'm gonna have so many questions about that. Like, when you
but
say
here's
the
where-
entire void of space, is that basically the entire observable universe?
Well, let's just assume this is just our known universe in Lord of the Rings, just as a base.
Okay, so he's like so he travels to the edge of the universe and back.
In a day.
In a day.
And this is a dragon.
Okay, so he did a Dr. Fate shit. Okay.
No, he
I was gonna say that.
no, he put the helmet to shame because that was in a day, whereas the helmet was a week. Although
Okay, so-
DC
No, it was a year. It was a year.
Oh
No,
yeah,
you're
no,
right,
I'm
you're
thinking.
right.
I'm thinking of something else. Sorry.
Okay, so
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
where
yeah.
it gets a little bit complicated with the movies and book differential. According to like the movies and stuff, they said he's like thousands of years old, right? In the books, he is described as someone who has existed before the creation of time.
Ow.
Hmm?
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know how that works. But like, how do you do that? What
Well,
was
you
the
just
writer? What was the writer thinking?
You just have to be there before time is created. I don't know.
Somehow.
Just have to be there, you know?
You can definitely say that. With Sauron, he is also probably one of the most intelligent movie villains of all time. Oh, he convinced other elves to make these rings of power and convinced other civilizations to attack other civilizations. All the while just chilling and devising his plan.
That sounds so familiar to me.
Okay, so pull this out. In the books, Sauron is described as an Anur. A-I-N-U-R. Okay?
Okay.
Having some of the concepts of within EA, just literally the letters E and A. Some of the concepts with the concept of world to Anodai. It's basically described as they know him more smart than the gods of the universe, basically.
I think I've read something about that they were, or I think I've seen something about that he was one of the Maiar or some shit like that, and they're like a race that are like just below the creators of the universe, kind of, if that's what I understand. And basically, Sauron is like has the strength of one of those gods. If is that correct?
This is just based off books Sauron, so most likely yes. Again, the movies make him seem weaker because, you know, how do you write in a movie about a character that existed before the creation of time?
By making a really long goddamn movie.
Really long
Alright.
Oscar-winning movies.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, the big thing with Sauron is definitely the One Ring. And oh boy, does the One Ring definitely give Sauron a lot of shit.
Okay, I want to know about that because I know that in the movie it just makes you invisible. Big deal.
Oh, that's one of the things, but he also can put life force into that ring.
Including
anything about-
himself, true.
Exactly. And he can also corrupt people with that ring. Oh, if you want to wear the ring and you wear it, you can be corrupted by it, and Sauron can take advantage of that. Because he made the ring. He knows how it works.
You can also be corrupted by just being near it, can't you?
Yeah,
Mostly
true.
If they want to
You can
bear
be
its
tempted,
power.
if I remember correctly.
According to the movie, it's mostly if you want to bear its power.
Oh, if you're tempted to do it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's
What,
what got Sean
remember-
Bean.
Remember Nightmare Sword, by the way? Think of it kind of like that.
And it
Okay.
comes full circle.
Well, the One Ring may also give Sauron all this power, but it's also his biggest weakness. You destroy that ring, you get rid of a lot of his power.
So like if you have enough strength or like enough like power to could you overwhelm that ring basically? Kind of like at
Possibly.
the end.
I remember
I
how
mean-
it was depicted in like the first movie. Didn't the guy cut his finger off that had the ring on?
Oh, in one of the books, This is for the ring's durability. The ring has withstood the fire of guess who? Calgon the Black. Listen, dragon fire is not normal fire, obviously. It's a lot more dangerous and a lot more potent. But if the ring can withstand a fire breath attack from one of the most powerful dragons in the Lord of the Rings universe, you know he made that correctly.
And so volcanic lava is what destroys it?
Specifically, the lava inside Mount Doom.
Yeah, it was Mount Doom, so maybe it's a magic volcano, whatever.
Yeah,
probably.
And I imagine it's going to be brought up, like it can't just be any regular lava. It's got to specifically be the lava inside of Mount Doom that destroys it.
Hell yeah. Other just random fun stuff that Sauron can do is he can fly, because every villain needs to fly, right?
Of course, like most number one of the villain dramatic effect rule. I don't know where I went with that joke, but you know.
They go with a lot of stuff from the book. The Anor are considered immune from conventional weaponry. They have to unlock more divine power. This happened with Gandalf in one of the books too. Here's a complicated thing. In the books, specifically for Lord of the Rings, death is kind of like a tangible place called Mandos.
Okay.
The Anor become spirits until they regenerate if they're killed.
Oh, so that's what is that what Sauron was in, you know, when he was slain and you know his spirit lived on in the ring. That's what he was.
He pretty much was able to make it so that his spirit can be inside that ring.
Okay.
Again, the books and the movies paint a very big difference between these two. This is what's going to make this fight really intense, is just whose magic can break the other's big magic item, because from what I recall, the Lich King has something similar to that. Unless you guys want to ask me anything about Sauron, I would like to pass the ring of knowledge to Mr. Taurock.
I'm just trying so hard not to make ring jokes.
Well, there's the Ring of Death Battle, you know, on the ring. So you have that one. Oh, was it? Okay. So was that a transition for me to talk about Arthas?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Lich King.
Okay. Okay, so let me tell you about the story of the Lich King. It all starts kind of with because basically, as I think it was Mate who they called him, who made that remark that they called him the Lich King instead of just Arthas, because the Lich King is actually two beings. It's actually two beings in one. You have I'll talk about the first one, Arthas. Then I'll get to the second one later, because the second one is called Nurzul, who was an orc shaman, leader of his own Shadow Moon clan, and he was kind of a shit. You know, I'm gonna talk about Nurzul once we get to Nurzul, once we get to Frostmourne and all that shit. Let me just focus to Arthas, okay? So, before Arthas versus Sauron, before I even hear about Arthas versus Sauron, there was a matchup that I really wanted for Arthas, and it was it was the Lich King versus Darth Vader. Because Arthas is kind of like, you take Anakin Skywalker, but instead of raising him like in poverty as a slave in the desert, you raise him as a prince, like a noble. So you take that whole the whole chosen one shit, you raise it as a privileged boy, and you have Arthas. You have Arthas, Prince of Lordaeron, son of King Tyrannus II, I think. Yes. He trained by the best. He was trained in combat by the best in all of Azeroth. One of the dwarf prince Muradin taught him how to fight. He was taught in the light by the first human paladin that has ever paladined, Uther the Lightbringer. He was blessed with magnificent light ability. He was saver of the orphans and the widow. He was kind of an asshole, too. He was also almost engaged to the lovely Princess of Coltiras, Jaina Proudmore, also how I like to call her, CEO of Getting Bitches, because this lady dates a lot of dudes. Like, oh my god, she gets a lot of dates. Anyway.
He really sounds like a go-getter.
So he really sounds like almost kind of like a Gary Stu. So he was kind of like, he was getting he was the hero, he had a princess. What do you need in this story?
Dragon.
A big fat bad guy, and that's when shit went down. Basically, Lordaeron was getting invaded by the undead scourge, by a plague that turned people into undead. And Arthas was more than determined to protect his people and go against fight the undead scourge to its core. And that's when, digging a little too deep, that he met with his, let's say, his ultimate nemesis for now, which is Mal'Ganis, who is kind of like this vampire demon dude, who is like, hey, Arthas, bitch, Arthas, I invented the McDonald, and I infected the crops. I infected the water supply, and I'm gonna deliver my McDonald's to all the cities in Lordaeron, and I'm basically gonna turn all of the country into undead without them even realizing it. And so Arthas, of course, he was like, "Oh my god, I need to prevent all this. And they went to the first city they could meet, Stratholme, and unfortunately, the crops, the McDees the Big Macs have already touched the city, and everyone was already eating the infected crops. So, when the city is overrun, Master Anakin, what shall we do?
Killed them all, didn't they?
He absolutely Anakin Skywalker that he slaughtered them all like it was animals, because like it was the only thing to do, and that's kind of what sets his corruption into motion, because Arthas was more than determined to fucking end this, whatever the cost. And so, with the blood of his own people in his hand, he purged his entire city, the entire city of Stratholme. And after it did that, Mal'Ganis was like, "Hey, what's up? It's me! Hey, Arthas! Hey, Arthas! Bitch! Let's go! Fight me in this land called Northrend. It's an entire continent of undeath and snow fuckery. You won't fight me here, you bitch!" And Arthas was like, "Ooh!" And so he took the baits and he chased Mal'Ganis down to this forgotten land, to this lost continent called Northrend. And he actually meets with his old teacher, Muradin, who was in an expedition, and his dwarf instructor was like he basically told him that he was on an expedition to find and possibly recover a certain magic sword, because they've heard rumor of this mystic, powerful sword called Frostmourne.
Is it the Sword of 1,000 Truths?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a South Park thing.
Okay.
Like the World of Warcraft episode.
Oh, okay. I didn't It would equivalent to that. So Frostmourne is fucking weird. Because it used to be your classic, I'm corrupting your soul when you pick me up and I devour soul and make you hungry for power. It used to be that, but then Shadowlands happened. And you know that scene in Venom vs. Krona, where they mentioned the symbiote god? And Boomstick went, oh jeez, oh god, there we go, this is stupid. When I mention Shadowlands, it's that part.
Oh,
because yes, it's that bad. Now Frostmourne is a sword that was basically. It used to be a shard of the current Lich King, Ner'zhul, and shit. I'm getting lost in thought. And it used to be just a shard of the Lich King that the Lich King placed there to possibly find a new champion. But there was actually another guy behind the scene, and basically I'm losing track like enormously. That's what Shadowlands fucking do. It makes you lose track of things. But basically what Frostmourne can do, instead of just absorbing the soul, it splits your soul in two.
Like, gives you split personality disorder?
Kind of. The first half of the soul gets absorbed and is sent to a place called the Maw, which is basically super hell, if I can put it this way. And this goes and reinforce sending a soul to the Maw actually sends energy to the Maw and basically fuels the Maw's power, and by doing so it reinforces Arthas. And the second soul is basically you can do whatever you want with that second half of the sword. You can raise it into undeath. You can use it to enhance your own abilities. You can absorb their memories, their own experience, yada yada yada. But it has of course, it had corruptive effect, and basically Arthas was hearing whispers of the Lich King, the current Lich King, Ner'zhul, and which basically pushed his traits to like his bad traits to like 11, and so he took that sword and managed to get Mal'Ganis 1-on-1, 1v1, a final destination, no object aside from Frostmourne. And when he returned from Northrend, he did some corrupted things like killing your father, like taking his place on the throne and making Lordaeron even more riddled with undeath as possible.
As you do.
As you do for a couple years, he was there slaying his own mentor Uther and shit like that, until he started to get a big headache. He was getting like Discord calls constantly from Ner'zhul, who was like, "Hey, I'm gonna tell you my secret. I'm actually a creation of the demon Kil'jaeden, and I kind of like he's kind of using me as a pawn to his own end, but I want to do something more. I want to do something more with my newfound power, and he's coming for me. We're basically getting cancelled, Arthas. You need to come to my throne real quick. I'm a cartoon on HBO Max. Like, this is getting urgent. And so he went. So he did a bunch of shenanigans. He got poisoned. he fought a demon hunter called Illidan Stormrage. We'll talk about this guy. That was my phone. Shut up. And basically he won. He basically got to the Frozen Throne, and the two basically merged together, and they merged consciousness to form one being, the Lich King.
Okay, so we went from split personality to somehow being a Dragon Ball fusion.
Kind of. It's the idea. Although he kind of killed any hope, the Lich King killed any hope of ever defusing back, because in his head he just kind of killed the Ner'zhul part and killed the humanity out of him. And that's how he became the Lich King. I need to talk more about... I think I'll talk a bit more about Ner'zhul once I get to his feats and all that shit.
Nice.
I think I dragged on for way too long. This was my trap. We're still here for a fucking hour. You've activated my trap card.
I mean, to be fair, it sounds like there's a lot to go over with this guy.
Yeah, that was just the beginning of the Lich King. So let me just go over his abilities. So I talked about Frostmourne a little bit, and his whole arsenal, or his armor, basically, his armor and possibly Frostmourne are made of Serenites, which is a bad idea because it's technically hardened Cthulhu blood.
Oh yeah, my favorite armor, blood armor.
Yes, and this metal has weird properties because it's able to cut through flesh and souls alike. And if you stay around this metal for too long, you basically go a bit insane. So he felt that was a good idea to not only surround himself with this and make it his own armor. He made his entire citadel out of it. Like if you look at the Ice Crown Citadel, the whole thing is made of Serenites, and he is sitting there just like, this is fine. I'm okay with the events that are happening currently.
Sounds like he's been farming Cthulhu a lot for blood just to make that entire tower.
Yes, he did, because he found a very good pool of Serenites just below his Frozen Throne.
That's convenient.
Yes. So in all his abilities, I talked about cutting souls. He has enormous controls over, well, he is the Lich King, so he has supreme command over all undead. He can raise the dead, he can split souls into and turn a part of your soul against you. He can shit. Because there's just way too much shit. I took notes, but He can also use his trusty mount Invincible, which is an undead Pegasus to fly around the air. So, if you want flight, you got that. He was raised as something called a Death Knight. So he has all the abilities of Death Knights. What are Death Knights? Think of basically undead Jedi.
Great, now we're dealing with lightsabers.
They're they are the antithesis to everything Paladin stands for. Where the Paladin is like, I do the light, I heal and stuff. Death Knights are all about necromancy and also frost magic. He has insane control over basically cryomancy. He can make frost novas, which are like bursts of frost energy. He can create ice spheres, which are basically ice tokens. He can create winters. He can something called as remorseless winters, which is like drop the temperature really quickly around himself. his necromantic abilities, we have the Death Coil, which is a giant bolt of death magic that can or hurt the living or heal the undead. He can use something called the Death Pact, which is basically sacrificing undead, basically absorbing his own undead minions to replenish his health. He can create necrotic plagues, place shadow trap. He can force choke you with a spell that's called Asphyxiate, which is literally a force choke. He can teleport via a thing called, I think, Death Portals or Death Gates. Would be cooler if it was Death Gates, which allows him to teleport anywhere he wants. Weaker Death Knights have managed to open Death Gates between different planes of existence. He can cast illusions, and also, there's a funny thing, he cannot die unless he is near the frozen throne. The Lich King can only be destroyed at the place he was created.
Oh, so he has that too. Great.
He is literally a video game boss.
Okay, so basically, they both have a specific place they gotta go.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Also, there's about his armor. So, citation needed on this one because it was something I read on the RPG's monster guide, I think it was called. But I can't find it anywhere, so citation needed. I need people to confirm me that. But apparently Serenite also has a healing factor. So he's got an armor that has a healing factor. So I just need confirmation on that if y'all can or not. But basically, with all these abilities, with all these insane abilities, he became rapidly one of the greatest threats on all of Azeroth. Because because not only was he able to how do I put this? He has ravaged countless cities. He can shrug off things like Infernals, which is a spell that Mal'Ganis can do. And basically, imagine taking a meteor to the face, and if somehow you survive, that meteor comes alive and beats you to death.
Oh wait,
okay.
You can make a meteor that grows arms and legs just to kick the shit out of you.
Yep, it's called an Infernal. Let me pull this one real quick. Do I have one? Yes. Yes, I have one of those. These are demon meteor golems, basically. And their thing is that they fall from orbit, and they slam the ground like a goddamn meteor, and they come alive, and they destroy everything. Also, before joining with Norzul on the Frozen Throne, he had a moment of thoughts like that. Just after defeating Illidan Stormrage, which almost cost his life. Like he was already like pretty beaten up, and he had a moment of thought. He was like, "Damn! After all I've been through, I'm still human." That's cringe. So he ripped his own heart, and he just like threw it away.
As you do.
As you do, you know. You.
He doesn't. It sounds like he didn't have the heart or soul to keep going.
I mean, he had the heart to keep going, but the heart was the heart was the obstacle to get to that goal. So didn't need it.
Okay, so I have a question about both of these two. Can either of them be corrupted by, like, magic or something?
Well, the Lich King has been under... Well, he is basically under two influence. I've talked about the Serenite, that he's constantly surrounded by it. And there's also... I'm gonna talk about Shadowlands moment. because his crown, the Helm of Domination, is kind of like a key to this super hell called the Maw, and it was supposed to be used by this super titan of death called the Jailer, and he wanted to use it as a way to access the mortal plane or some shit like that, and he was constantly on this powerful death god basically was constantly telling him, now you wear the crown, you are under my command, you will do everything I say, you are my puppet now. And Arthas, or both Ner'zhul and Arthas were like, who the fuck are you? I'm doing my own shit. What are you doing? Who the fuck are you?
Okay.
So,
right.
Do you have an answer?
Yes. Like I said, Sauron made the ring and has resisted being controlled and corrupted by the likes of Celebrimbor.
yeah, I don't think mind control is going to be a huge factor in this fight.
Okay. Do either of them have the power to destroy souls?
Yes, he can.
Yes.
Oh fuck!
Oh god, okay.
I was hoping to come down so one of them can do it. They win.
I honestly think Arthas has a lot of ways to damage Sauron's spirits directly with all his soul manipulation and Frostmourne.
Okay. Bible, you have anything you want to ask?
Not really.
Alright, do we go to the 60 seconds part?
Oh,
and...
sorry, because I need to. Sorry, I completely forgot his feats and who he should scale to. If you can allow me just to this. Sorry, didn't hear.
Yeah, no, go on.
Okay. So, as I said, he is one of the biggest threat Hazaroth has ever faced. That includes shits like old gods like Chthon or Yogg-Saron, who are like basically Cthulhu-looking motherfuckers. You know, Yogg-Saron. You know, Saranites. That's the blood of Yogg-Saron. That includes things like Malygos, who controls all the magic in all of Azeroth, or things like also Illidan Stormrage himself, who is powered by a thing called the Skull of Gul'dan. And Ner'zhul, in his living life as a little orc, he used that skull along with other artifacts, and he kind of caused his own planet to blow up.
Huh.
So, because like the orcs they don't come from Azeroth, they come from another place called Draenor, and basically Ner'zhul wanted Ner'zhul wanted to open gates he wanted to open more gates that tie Draenor to Azeroth to send even more orcs to invade it back in the day, and he kind of went a little power hungry, and he accidentally opened way too many portals everywhere, and it tore the planet apart. And now it's just a bunch of rocks in space. And he does one of the greatest exploits in World of Warcraft history. He kills you. Well, the you that managed to defeat Malygos, who controls all of magic again, or the you that defeated Freya, who is the creator of an entire dimension called the Emerald Dream.
Oh boy. Oh, so we're gonna have another Trunks versus Silver thing.
You are, in Dragon Ball Heroes, you are technically canon. In World of Warcraft, you are 100% canon. So, congrats. There we go. That was pretty much the scaling I have to talk about.
Okay, so after all of that, do we want to go to the 60 seconds parts and discuss who wins?
So Taurock, since you're a guest, we'll explain how this works. Basically, you and I are going to get 60 seconds to say why we think each character wins. I will be representing Sauron, as I've done this discussion. You will be representing your boy, the Lich King.
Yes.
Yeah, by the way, this is 60 seconds uninterrupted.
Yes, and I will like to point out, Taurock, last time we had a guest go against one of the lads here, it was a curb stop.
Yeah, because it was Jason versus Michael, like, come on.
Oh, I'm saying it was a guest. Like, the last time we had a guest do 60 seconds, it was a curb stop.
Oh, okay.
Well, they also went over time.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
It will be our timer for this, and he'll tell us when time's up. We just gotta do the best we can to make a case for who we think wins. Then we'll give our predictions. I have Bill also give a prediction, but which we'll save after we give our 60 seconds. Sound good?
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, Sean, are you ready?
Yes.
And go.
Well, Sauron is going to show the Lich King who the true king of fiction really is. With his one ring, he has insane amounts of magic and abilities, such as being able to potentially slow down time. Even if Arathis is somehow faster, he can ensure that he's faster. I highly doubt Lich King can destroy the ring that Sauron wields, because if it can resist an attack from the most powerful dragon in the Lord of the Rings universe, what's Lich King gonna do? As for his ice attack, Sauron specifically has been shown to use heat in a lot of his arsenal. His heat is so powerful it can help people if you get too close to it, meaning that his ice attacks are going to be useless. You were saying that part of the Lich King was an orc. The rings of power are designed to control orcs, so what's stopping Sauron from controlling the orcs? And honestly, it's going to be a tough ring to bear when Warcraft gets its first loss against the Honor, who's been around since before time itself.
And time.
Okay.
Alright. Taurock, you ready?
I think I am.
Okay. 60 seconds on the clock. Go.
So, this whole fight is gonna be about power. Maybe the Lich King, or maybe even if the Lich King can't, I think the Lich King will overpower the Ring's might, because again, he is a threat that is comparable to universal beings. And even if he can't overpower that ring, he can weaken Sauron's spirit by slicing it into millions of pieces. And he can also resist a lot of Sauron's abilities, such as mind control, such as temptation, all that shit. And he is also unkillable. What is he gonna do? He can't really kill Arthas when he's not on the frozen throne, because again, this is a neutral terrain. I guess what I'm going to say is that in one neutral ring, Arthas is going to be the one to rule them all.
Oh, and time.
Let's go! Did it on time.
Nice.
Great.
Alright, so who wants to give the first prediction?
Okay, so I have just a thought, and this just ties into a little rule that Death Battle has talked about. And that being the whole a death is a death rule. We've seen that Sauron can be killed. Like, his physical body can be killed, and yet the ring will still be around. Like, that is a thing. So, in theory, if Lich King can destroy Sauron's physical form, and the ring is all that remains, would that technically count as Lich King winning?
I mean, if he destroys the spirits...
With Sauron, he can switch between physical and spiritual forms.
Which Lich King can destroy.
I mean, Lich King could be able to affect both.
Yeah, and like, sure, with like the ring still being around, Sauron could come back eventually, but he still lost that fight. So,
Actually, I don't know about this one.
I've also heard that it's like debatable whether or not Sauron can like scale to like universe level threats, whereas Lich King, yeah, no, he just does. So, just based on that, I kind of want to side with Lich King. Like, I'm extremely unfamiliar with these two, and honestly, just most of this discussion, I'm just like, I don't understand anything that's being said.
Same, yeah. I know very little about these
To be
guys.
fair, I wouldn't say the Lich King is universal because I like to dramatize it, but I would say it would be consistent to place him on the planet level threat, basically.
Okay, so he's at least got that, but
He should be able to at least be planet level.
oh, you know what? That might have been what I heard. I'm just thinking universe for some reason.
It's because of Freya and the Emerald Dream, which is like an entire dimension.
Oh yeah, that.
It's more of a pocket dimension of the entire planet. With more, if you want more extra detail, it's basically, it's weird. It's a dimension of like what would Azeroth look like if there wasn't any mortals to like place buildings and structures and all that shit. And it's basically the world's dream because the planet is alive. It's complicated.
Sounds it.
I mean, it's complicated, not really, but you know.
Okay. So
I don't want to over-explain for an hour again.
Right. You might have to cycle back to me. This is just an initial thought I have.
I have Bill's prediction right here if we want to do that first.
Yeah, sure.
And the next time, have to go with Sauron. He's practically unkillable unless you destroy the ring, and his magic destructive capabilities are way more powerful than the Lich King's. So Bill is going with Sauron.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that strategy because like they both can't die unless killed by like through a specific thing. Like Arthas can't die unless he is destroyed on the Frozen Throne. Sauron can't die unless the ring is destroyed.
Yeah.
Sauron has the ring on him.
Yeah, but he can still be slain.
Here's my thing.
Is the thing.
Intelligence-wise, Lich King compared to Sauron, it's night and day. I think Sauron's definitely the smarter of the two. I don't really see how Lich King is going to figure out the ring is what gives Sauron his powers. And again, you brought up these ice attacks. With Sauron's heat abilities, those are pretty much going to be canceled out.
That's not all his option.
I didn't even mention a speed number for Lich King.
It's true. I couldn't find a good speed number.
Even if they're on par with speed, the fact that Sauron has similar abilities like to slow down time can ensure he's always faster. You can always get away from any of the Lich King's attacks.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, does Lich King have any way to like read minds?
He does. He has a telepathy and shit.
Okay.
So does Sauron.
Oh fuck. So they could just figure out how to kill each other.
Sort of.
Right.
And even in the books, it's stated that the Honor are beings beyond time. And Sauron has beaten people like that. So, if that's the case, I think I gotta stick with Sauron on this one. As powerful as the Lich King might be, if Sauron does have that kind of power, Lich King might have his soul destroyed. And even absorbed into a ring of power, which Sauron could do.
Oh, we didn't say that.
If Sauron can put his own life force into a ring, he can do it to others. And this man is really intelligent. I'm gonna stick with Sauron.
Well, I'm torn now.
I still have to defend my boy in thinking that he has way more option to affect to go around Sauron's resistances.
Which is fair.
Yeah, and I still think the argument of just like, if Sauron's physical form is destroyed, which has happened before, then Lich King wins.
Lich King's soul has been kind of destroyed in Shadowlands. so fucking complicated. Because his soul was basically used to enhance another agent. Well, to force another agent of the jailer to do his bidding and all that shit.
You see, okay, so I've been hung up on each of their situational deaths, and then Sean made an observation that Sauron is possibly smarter than the Lich King.
I would agree with that. Even though you could make the argument that Arthas can absorb the experience and memories of his victims, which he has hundreds of thousands of by this point.
Jesus.
At his peak. I don't think it should amount to Sauron's. Modest, just Sauron being Sauron. Yeah. So I kind of agree that experience would be more on Sauron's side.
Yeah, the thing is, their situational deaths happen on completely different worlds, so where is this fight going to take place? Is it going to take place in Middle-earth, or is it going to take place in WoW?
Yeah, because if this fight takes place in completely neutral territory, like, no Mount Doom, no Ice Throne, then what's it going to come down to?
I mean, the ring could be destroyed if it's matched in power, or, overwhelmed. That's how it was destroyed in Mount Doom, basically.
And my logic is, if Lich King can A, figure that out, and B, Lich King has to be faster. A big amount compared to Sauron.
It's true that dragon feat is actually frightening. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, the thing is, we also don't know exactly how fast it is. Like, I just said, let's say it's as much as the overall universe. Like, didn't you say it was the Void of Space or something?
Yes, the Void of Space.
Do you have a good estimate for how big that is? Or...
I think they would most likely lowball it and say it's comparable to our universe, our space and planets.
Pretty much leaning towards Sauron here.
I'm trying to think of a good speed feat. Fuck.
Okay, I have a question. Can either of them go through dimensions?
Arthas, technically yes. He hasn't, but weaker Death Knights, which the Lich King was, were able to open portals between Azeroth and the Shadowlands.
Okay, so...
Which is another plane of existence.
Again, it depends on how much they're going to actually take from the book, because in the book, if Sauron is comparable to the Anar have been stated in books to be able to travel wherever they want instantly. That hasn't really been shown in movies, so I think that's something Lich King might actually have over Sauron.
Neat.
I'll take it. Thinking maybe Sauron would transport the other into their places to where they could build that character.
That is possible, actually. If, again, they can figure that out about each other.
They can both read each other's minds, so Lich King can figure that out about Sauron. And just, I don't know, just open up a portal, into Mount Doom and just push him into lava or some shit.
No, he wouldn't be... I don't think he would be aware of Mount Doom. That Mount Doom even exists. I'm not gonna lie.
This is just a tough one to call because, again, for Sauron, it's not just movies, it's the books.
True. I mean, the Lich King also has his fair share of other medias. I talked about the RPG.
Well, I'm pretty sure, like, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the books come out before the movies?
I think so, yeah.
Lord of the Rings one, yes.
Yeah, so if the books are primary canon, that's why I'm going to stick with Sauron.
Yeah, so based on the information I've been given, I'm gonna have to side with Sean here. I'm going for Sauron.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like just because like Sauron has that like one exploit, like just destroy his physical form, take the ring, you technically do win the fight against him. Like that specific fight, I mean. So just based on that, which might be a crap reason, I think I might side with Lich King.
Ooh.
Okay, Taurock, are you gonna stick with the Lich King, or do you want to join Team Sauron?
For pure bias, I'm staying with the Lich King, and you know what? If I convince even one person to say, you know what? I think the Lich King is kind of cool. I'm gonna side with him. I did my fucking job.
I mean, in total, compared to the last time we had a guest do 60 seconds, which was 4-0 in favor of Silver, this one's only 3-2 in favor of Sauron. This is gonna be an interesting fight with like just the insane magic these two have.
Yeah, it's gonna be absolutely amazing.
And then it's just apparently how do they kill each other?
Yeah.
Honestly, my mind is really set on he can just weaken Sauron's spirit by just like splitting it and turning it against him, which is an ability that he can do it. I think, how is it called already? It's called Raging Spirit. There you go. Rips out a piece of the target's spirit and turns it against them.
Alright, well, have we settled we have on this fight?
Yeah, this is just another mindfuck.
Sounds like it.
I think there could be way too much to go around this fight in only 1 hour. To be honest.
Yeah, honestly, it sounds like it.